Hospitality have come into force in Scotland to try and stop the spread of Omicron. Nightclubs are to shut and social distancing will also return to bars, restaurants, gyms and theatres. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland has also introduced similar measures, including the rule of 6 when eating or drinking out and table service only. Christine Jardine, MP for Edinburgh West, says businesses need more clarity.
There's no logic to it that people can see, and that worries me because we need clear, direct protections that people can understand. They know the science and they see the logic in them. What we need is clear direction from the Scottish Government, and what we need is support, economic support for those businesses that are suffering and those families who are suffering because of the impact of this wave of Omicron.
The Business and Energy Secretary is expected to meet with energy bosses later to address rapidly rising wholesale gas prices. The chief executives of major suppliers are likely to ask Kwasi Kwarteng for tax cuts and the relaxation of green levies. Many say they are paying more for gas than they can charge customers. Since the start of September, more than 24 companies have gone bust. West Mercia Police has formally apologised to the family of ex-professional footballer Dalian Atkinson over his death. The 48-year-old who played for Aston Villa died in 2016 after PC Benjamin Monk kicked him in the head at least twice and tasered him 3 times. Monk was convicted of manslaughter and jailed for 8 years in June. Chief Constable Pippa Mills said a police uniform does not grant officers immunity to behave unlawfully or abuse their powers. The Metropolitan Police are investigating a video linked to a man arrested at Windsor Castle on Christmas Day while carrying a crossbow. The video, obtained by the Sun newspaper, shows a masked figure addressing the camera and appearing to make threats towards the Queen. Police say the suspect has been sectioned under the Mental Health Act. Head teachers are worried that pupils isolating because of COVID could miss their A-level and GCSE mock exams at the start of the term. The Association of School and College Leaders says the mocks are more high stakes this year as they could be used as a backup if exams get cancelled. Almost 10 million children are due to return to school next week. Schools may have to consider a mix of remote and in-class learning if they don't have enough staff to cover classes. The jury in the sex trafficking trial of Ghislaine Maxwell will resume deliberations later today. The British socialite is on trial in the US, accused of luring young girls to be molested by Jeffrey Epstein. The jury last sat on Wednesday before breaking for the Christmas holidays. Miss Maxwell denies all charges. And the director and producer Jean-Marc Vallee, known for Big Little Lies and Dallas Buyers Club, has died aged 58. The Emmy Award winner passed away suddenly in his cabin outside Quebec City in Canada. Mr. Vallee was acclaimed for his naturalistic approach to filmmaking, directing stars including Reese Witherspoon, Nicole Kidman and Matthew McConaughey. That is your news update. I'll be back in around an hour's time with the latest headlines. Now let's get back to Alex and Paul.
Thanks, Simon. Back to GB News Live now with Alex Phillips and Paul Hawkins. That news then, the Prime Minister not expected to announce any further COVID restrictions in England today. However, new rules in Scotland have had an impact on some people's plans over the festive period.
Yeah, pubs, clubs and other businesses have already had what would be a very busy period hampered by the rules introduced to limit the rapid surge in Omicron cases. Davy Donaldson has more.
The pub over my shoulder here has always had table-only service, so it's not a huge difference for them, and they've just got a social distance and now have only 3 households per table. So for them it's been pretty easy. Obviously for other bars, especially smaller bars here in Linlithgow, have obviously we're going to struggle with that because just to the sheer volume of customers, they obviously have to limit the amount of people that are allowed in to maintain social distancing, so that's obviously been difficult. Obviously, like I said there, 3 households per table as well, making sure everyone checks in. We've also had sporting events, the Scottish Premier League yesterday, only 500 fans allowed in. The rules with regards to pubs and restaurants, etc., and cafes, 100 people standing, 200 people seated, and for outdoor events, 500 people or more. For up to 500 people. So that's been difficult. We've obviously seen the Hogmanay party in Edinburgh, that's been cancelled. Hogmanay celebrations, larger ones across Scotland as well, they've been cancelled too. We've had pantomimes, we've had shows, everything's been cancelled. So to try and put these new restrictions in place, and obviously it's been difficult because people want to enjoy themselves, they want to go out, but obviously now the restrictions are back in force, that's proving extremely difficult.
So that's our reporter David Donaldson in Scotland, where new restrictions have come into force today. In England, it's been confirmed the Prime Minister, as we've been saying, will not make an announcement today on whether there are going to be any new restrictions. However, we are expecting the latest COVID figures. There was that lull over the weekend. There will be the latest COVID figures on infections and, crucially, the hospitalisation rates. They'll be looking at that in particular. We're expecting those new figures in around about 55 minutes' time. So we'll bring that to you here on GB News.
Now, hundreds of families affected by cancer in the northeast of England are today opening kindness kits given to them by a charity called Fighting All Cancers Together, or FACT as it's known in the region.
Yeah, our reporter Rachel Sweeney tells us about the charity's founder and how a little idea became a huge support network for thousands of people.
Joanne Smith was diagnosed with breast cancer at 34. It was her daughter's second birthday and her son was only 7.
I was very well looked after medically, had fantastic treatment, otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here today. But that treatment lasted 4.5 years, so it was a long time out of my life and my family's life. And it was managing your normal life, your day-to-day life, alongside the clinical journey that was the most challenging. And I thought that as I came towards the end of that, I could do something positive out of all the things I'd learned.
Joanne used her experience to set up the charity Fighting All Cancers Together, known as FACT, 13 years ago. A team of just 8 now supports more than 2,000 service users at any one time, those living with cancer and those who are supporting them through it.
It's very good and very caring to everyone. I'm here because of my mum having cancer and she's been very brave through it. And it's been a hard year.
Well, I was feeling ill about February and I got diagnosed with ovarian cancer. I've had chemotherapy through the Freeman Hospital, had an operation in August to have it all removed, and had the rest of my treatment at the Freeman again, and I got told last month that it's all clear. So, happy days.
How does that make you feel listening to that?
It's everything that FACT is about. It's why we're here. I mean, FACT in its early days was just going to be a little voluntary signposting group, and we've only grown to do what we do because of the need for what we do. And that just captures that completely. There's a family with a real need, and the FACT team and the FACT family have stepped up to meet that. That's what it's about.
This Christmas, FACT is providing hundreds of families with hampers to help them through the holidays. 511 of these kindness kits have gone to families across the northeast of England who are struggling emotionally or financially. Inside each one is fresh food, household goods, Christmas toys and toiletries. Deliveries are being made across the region by Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
It's just a good feeling that you're doing something worthwhile.
And you get a lot of satisfaction from sort of helping the people in the community and things like that. And you see the good work that the people within the charity do. It's quite nice then to be the end product of that, doing the deliveries and bits and pieces for them.
This team promotes compassion throughout the year. And Joanne has a very special message this Christmas Day.
Be happy, enjoy every moment, cherish people that are close to you. That's certainly something that we see our FACT family doing all year, but Christmas Day does stand out, doesn't it? So we need to make it a special one and just love the people that you have with you at that time.
That report from our North East of England reporter, Rachel Sweeney.
The Northern Ireland's Children to Lapland Trust makes children's dreams come true, flying over 100 children a year to Lapland to give them the magical experience of meeting who else but Father Christmas, sleigh rides and, of course, much more. Let's take a little look at all that joy.
Oh, Frosty the snowman was alive as he could be, and the children say he'd up and play just the same as you and me.
We have all cursed the restrictions of a COVID Christmas, and just how it curtails our plans. But spare a thought for those who may not see another.
The Northern Ireland Children to Lapland Trust was formed 12 years ago, and for the past 12 years, well, in effect for the past 10 years, we've been taking a plane full of Northern Ireland children up to see Santa Claus up in Lapland. I say only 10 out of the 12 because last year and this year, I'm afraid COVID has affected us very badly indeed. It meant that last year we just couldn't travel to Lapland. It wasn't feasible to take over 100 children, seriously ill children, some terminally ill, to a very cold Lapland.
The innocence of the children's dreams were being brought to life on a flight to the Arctic Circle to see Santa.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Oh, jingle bells, jingle.
For those non-believers, the magic of Lapland is hard to deny. Brought by huskies, skidoos and yes, reindeers to an underground kingdom where ice sculptures, elves and train rides existed. The families of these seriously and terminally ill children shared an experience never to be forgotten.
It's been about mega memories for the three of them, the three children, so it has, and it's been absolutely amazing. It's like something out of a storybook.
Great, it's great to see all the wee ones, you know, isn't it? Getting to see Santa Claus, wasn't it? Yeah. Good boy. Thanks.
For the past 2 years, this charity has only been able to deliver presents to the children who have had a struggle that most of us couldn't even imagine.
We got all the 110 kids that we were to bring. We got their names and addresses from all the health trusts, and we got them presents to the value of £200, and we distributed those to all the kids in their homes in the week before Christmas. We also get letters from Santa Claus and a video from Santa Claus individually to each of their homes.
I wish it could be like this every day and that
Back in Lapland, there were gifts aplenty. The magic of the day and excitement in everyone's eyes was a gift that would never, ever fade. The charity is so eager to return to its dream-making flights and realises it brings much more to these children than the experience of the day.
We sometimes take these things for granted, and sometimes the feedback that we get really hits home. We had one letter from a mother and said how much it meant to her daughter to be singled out for this, but not only her daughter, the brothers and sisters, the aunts, the uncles, the grannies, their school friends, the whole community took great pride and joy in the fact that this little girl was going to Lapland, and she said it gave her confidence such a boost. And we maybe sometimes don't recognise just how much of an impact it can make.
As this very special Christmas flight kissed the Irish skyline on its homeward journey, it occurred to me that there were two very different emotions on board. Those of the parents who had made precious memories and those of the children who had had their dreams come true. Douglas Beattie, GB News, Belfast.
Love that from Doogie. Right, that's almost it from Alex and myself. But coming up, we've got the best of Liam Halligan's Money Talks interviews. That's going to be a tough cut, isn't it? So many good interviews.
He did do amazing interviews.
Indeed.
And if you're like me and you don't understand the first thing about economics, then maybe watch.
Indeed. So yeah, the best of Liam Halligan's Money Talks interviews coming up, or rather Money Talked. But that is it from us today. We'll be back tomorrow from 10. Enjoy the rest of your bank holiday. In the meantime, here is the weather.
Bye-bye.
It's time to remind ourselves there's always another winter. Canary Islands sponsors the weather.
Looking ahead to this evening's weather then, and the UK is looking cloudy for many of us with outbreaks of patchy rain moving north. But let's take a look at the details. Turning increasingly windy across the southwest this evening with gales towards the coast. Cloudy for all with outbreaks of rain. Very mild with temperatures well above the average. It'll also be breezy towards the coasts in the southeast, but light winds further inland. Often cloudy with outbreaks of rain in places. There will also be a lot of cloud and some hill fog, across much of Wales through this evening. Patchy rain and drizzle too. Large parts of the Midlands also on the cloudy side, though fairly dry. However, a few outbreaks of rain and drizzle are still possible. Temperatures around 8 degrees Celsius. Looking at the north of England, we will see increasing amounts of cloud with outbreaks of rain and drizzle moving northwards. Fairly chilly evening for many, with temperatures around 6 or 7 degrees Celsius for most. Scotland will be largely dry with some clear spells, but perhaps a few showers in the north and west too. Thicker cloud and rain arriving in the far south later. And then finally looking at Northern Ireland this evening, largely cloudy with a little rain and drizzle in places. Temperatures around 7 or 8 degrees Celsius and winds light. Overnight it will be mostly cloudy across the UK with some heavy rain in places, windy across the south too. And that is how the weather is shaping up overnight into tomorrow morning.
Canary Islands sponsors the weather.
You're watching GB News live across the UK and the world on our digital stream.
GB News is Britain's news channel.
We are the UK's home of discussion and debate from all perspectives.
We are here for you. Don't forget to join our YouTube community by clicking on that subscribe button.
And if you want the GB News app, you can click and catch up on programmes anytime.
We love to hear from you, so email us.
gbviews@gbnews.uk.
Thanks for being part of the GB News family.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of two wonderful comedian panellists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch. And then for the last 15 minutes, talking pints. We're over a drink. We have a civilised conversation with someone. We very often disagree, but we do it in a grown-up way. Come and join me on Farage. I'm Colin Brazier. I've reported from more than 70 countries around the world, covered wars from Afghanistan to Iraq, from Lebanon to the Balkans. I'm trying to bring that experience, that feel for events, to the studio. And something else, I'm ready to give an opinion. Today's stories with a spark. Brazier from 8 p.m. weekdays on GB News.
Join us for the Political Correction. We're here every Sunday to correct politics and put you, the people, back in charge.
We talk about all areas of the United Kingdom, including Northern Ireland.
Our debate goes way beyond the Westminster Village. It's about the real country. It's about your opinion. So please, we want you to tell us what you think.
This is the Political Correction.
Every Sunday morning from 10 a.m. here on GB News.
You're watching GB News live across the UK, the world, and our digital stream.
GB News is Britain's news channel.
We are the UK's home of discussion and debate from all perspectives.
We're here for you. Don't forget to join our community by hitting the subscribe button.
And download the GB News app so you can click and catch up on programmes anytime.
We love to hear from you. Email us at gbviews@gbnews.uk.
Thanks for being part of the GB News family.
Welcome to On the Money with me, Liam Halligan. Each weekday at 1, I host a detailed discussion of a key economic or business issue. When will interest rates rise? Can nuclear or even hydrogen technology help us solve our energy crisis? How can my kid afford a house? A whole range of topics, debated in a detailed yet highly accessible way, right here on GB News. Now, each On the Money episode features an in-depth Money Talks interview with a key policymaker or business leader. My first Money Talks guest back in early September was Graham McDonald, Chief Executive of JCB. I asked the boss of one of the UK's most iconic manufacturers about his outlook for the British economy.
So I'm very optimistic. You know, if you wanted to buy a machine today, depending on what type, the earliest I could make it is probably May next year.
Wow. So, and when I looked,
big demand, and it's not artificial. Sometimes people say people panic buy or panic order, but when I actually interrogate the orders we've got, they've all got customer names to them. They've all got work behind them. So I'm very optimistic. I think there's a number of potential threats, whether we have another wave of COVID, which has an impact on people's confidence in the economy. That could well happen, but the government, I think, are on top of that, and I think we've just got to crack on with the economy and with business. And the other big risk, I think,